The Porsche 911 has been with us for an amazing 34 years. OK, it's had more facelifts than Elizabeth Taylor, but it's retained the same concept. The smooth flowing front, the steeply raked windscreen, and the engine stuck right out at the back. When the 928 was launched in 1977, it was intended as a replacement. But the orders for the 911 just kept coming in. Indeed, in 1996, they produced more cars than ever before. But by then, Porsche had already decided that there would have to be a new 911. Ever tighter emission and safety controls demanded a total redesign. So it's a case of out with the old and in with the new. Still unmistakably a 911, yet for the first time 100% all new. Now, I already like the look of it, but the question is, will I like the feel of it? Yes, it feels good. Despite there being less pattering from the front end, less of a roar from the rear end, no windscreen wipers to spoil your vision, and yes, after 34 years, no Volkswagen Beetle pedals. Despite all that, this is still a 911. But that lack of roar from behind is the clue to the only real move away from the original 60s concept, because for the first time, the engine is not air-cooled. It's still a flat-six boxer configuration, and it's still hung right out the back, but it's now water-cooled. While the capacity drops from 3.6 litres to 3.4, the power is up 15 brake to the magical 300 mark, equal to the once awesome turbo version of the 80s. At the moment, only the coupe is available, with the cabriolet due out next year, the turbo hopefully in 1999, and then the Targa sometime in the next century. This must be the safest car in the world. Not only does it have wall-to-wall airbags, just in case you do get involved in an accident, but it's also got this superb road holding, solid acceleration, but safe overtaking, and the most powerful brakes to prevent you from having an accident in the first place. These brakes are all part of Porsche's ongoing GT racing program, and they're simply superb. Look, I'll demonstrate. 50 miles an hour, fourth gear, cruising along, and it just stops. While the 911's handling has become smoother and more refined, so have its lines. Less angular, less aggressive, it's grown up with the times, yet it's still obviously a 911. She's got a cigarette on each arm.
The brief was very simple and short. The new car has to look like a 911. It has to look good and new. Even a young child or an old man, they can tell it is the new 911.
The front lights with the indicators are sort of controversial.
Yes, we knew it when we did it, but it has to be that way. We were so convinced because it represents a new concept. We are integrating all the function into one module system.
People will be looking forward to a turbo version sometime. They'll then want to put a big wing on your pretty rear end.
Well, I mean, we are looking into a lot of other alternatives to solve the turbo problem. But on the other hand, Porsche would not be a Porsche without turbo. Or should I say, as long as there is a Ferrari, then we will always have a turbo.
There's bound to be some resentment with the fact that the new 911 has the same nose as the Boxster. Indeed, the front lights are identical, but the 911 was drawn first. The new car is a little longer, a little wider, and fractionally taller than the model it replaces. But as a car to drive, it doesn't feel any bigger at all. Indeed, it's only 1 inch wider on the outside But thanks to the doors being pushed out, it's actually 3 inches wider on the inside, so you're no longer rubbing shoulders with your passenger. But despite all this extra room, the car is actually lighter than the old 911, 50 kilos lighter. So added to that extra bit of power the car now has, 0 to 60 is now down to just 5 seconds. And if you live in Germany, you can pull 175 down the autobahn.
She's got a paradise camouflage.
At just under £65,000, this coupe is actually about £500 cheaper than the older version, and you're getting a lot more for your money. It's true, some will regret it's not quite the feisty handful of old. It's become more of a long-legged cruiser, with second gear good for 72 miles an hour. But this is a class car. So, apart perhaps from the fact that it shares its front end with the Boxster, the 911 has been improved in every way. Will it still be around in another 34 years? I rather think it will.